Choose it.
Hello.
Okay, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Fireside tonight. My name is Clint Pulver, and I have the opportunity to be your host. And I'm very, very, very excited for this evening and two very, very special people that are going to be joining us. Chad and Shondell Hymas are two incredible humans, and I'm so excited to hear from them tonight. They're going to be talking about marriage. They're going to talk about their relationship, the things they've learned. And I think if the best way to learn is from other people's experiences. And these two individuals have experienced together some incredible things that are only going to benefit us tonight. So I want to bring them on really quick before we start with an opening prayer. Chad and Shondell, can you guys join us tonight? What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
We're happy to be with you tonight.
We're happy. You're happy to be with me here tonight?
No, with Clint.
Oh,
just me, Chad. Just me. Shondell, you and I are just going to have a conversation. Chad, we're glad you can make it. But Shondell's really why we're all
happy. Or stayed married for 30 years. That's it right there. That's how it works. Thanks for the fireside tonight. Maybe we can do a closing prayer. We're ready.
Awesome. I'm going to start us off with an opening prayer, and then we'll jump right into you guys taking it away. All right, here we go. Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful, and I'm very honored tonight to have Chad and Shondell speak to us. Father, we pray and ask tonight that Thy Spirit would be with us and that we would be able to learn, that we can grow from this, that they can share their hearts, their authenticity, their experiences within their marriage and how they've come closer and how we can come closer to Thee through our marriages. We are grateful for this 4th of July weekend. We're grateful for our freedom and this country that we have the opportunity to be a part of. We pray, Father, that Thy Spirit again will be here. We're grateful for this opportunity, the technology, and the chance to meet. And these things we pray and ask for at this time in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Well, everybody, thank you again for joining us. As you're jumping on, before Chad and Shondell take off, we'll just go ahead and in the comments, let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're joining in from. And without further ado, let's turn the time over to Chad and Shondell.
Thanks a lot, Clint. Thanks for having us, Shane and Maddie, Onward Productions. Thanks for hosting this. This is, I get to do this frequently, and to have Shondell join me in this kind of a platform is going to be very, very expensive. Because Shondell does not like to do this. And we are kind of at a gap, and we're kind of having to lean over. And that's not, this is called social distancing. We've been doing this for 30 years, or ever since I've been in a wheelchair, right? The wheelchair keeps us apart. And there's a saying that says absence makes the heart grow fonder. So the wheelchair has just been a bonus, right, in the marriage. So if you're not happy in your marriage, one of you need to sit in a wheelchair for a little while and get that distance apart a little bit. And that's not where we're going with this tonight. I'm just being a little facetious. But with that said, I would echo what Clint said. If you have any comments or questions, by all means, shoot them to us in the chat. We can see it right here. And so we'd love to see what questions you have. We are not marriage experts, but we have been together for 25. So I look at her just to make sure, because I could get really ridiculed and get hit with a fly swatter across the head if I said it wrong. So 25 years we've been married, but we've been together for 29, so almost 30 years. We've we've known each other. We met. Maybe you can give them a little bit of background.
Okay.
Tell them how you fell in love with me. What happened? All right, don't tell them that. Tell them how we met.
Oh, Chad and I met in high school. We both went to West Jordan High School, and we both played basketball, and that's basically how we met. I watched him play ball, and one day at practice, he came and talked to me. And
I was dunking it. I was dunking it.
I'm not sure he was quite dunking it. He was close, and I knew one day he might. I don't know if that ever happened. No, I don't think that ever happened. But that's how we met. We met and dated in high school.
We met on the basketball court.
Right.
I saw your socks, and I made a comment about you're wearing
purple socks.
Purple socks, and I made a comment about her socks, and that was November 18th, 1991.
Right.
November 18th, 1991, about 3:10 in the afternoon during basketball practice, I looked out on the court and saw she was the only one wearing colored socks. All the other girls had on white socks, and she was like the odd duck. And so I made a comment to her about her socks. That night, November 18th, and I remember that day because that's my birthday, she called me. Do you remember that phone call?
I remember.
She called me and asked me if I would go to the school play with her. That night, she called me. And then she asked me if her friend could go and if I had a friend on the basketball team that could join. Right?
That's
and
true.
That's true. And then she asked me if I would
I did not ask if you would pay for the date. I knew that was coming next.
I swear that's what happened.
No, you offered.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. So we've been married now for 25 years. I wrote a blog this past week about making covenants. And I just want you all to know that as joking as this is, and as fun as Shondell and I seem, we have had some bumps along the way, for sure. We continue to have those. And I think it's never been more prevalent, at least in my mind, Shondell. I mean, I know that the broken neck was tough and coming home was tough. And we might talk about that a little bit. But the truth is, I think everybody can relate to this a little bit, where people are either at home more often, they're with their spouses a lot more. The last 4 months of me not going anywhere but being in the office, not flying anywhere, the airplane has been a scapegoat for me. Would you not? It's been a crutch. It's been a place for me to go, to not have to see you do what I used to do around the farm or the ranch, or the little, even the dishes. Of course, I don't know how many times
You didn't do the dishes before.
And so, being with Shondell these last 4 months has really been probably an emotional drain. Is that fair to say? And I mean, I'm not saying it's totally been a drag. I'm just saying that it's been a test for me. You're the same. You've always treated me the same, but for me, I've really had some I've had to go back to what happened when we first fell in love and try and play those again, because it's tough for me to sometimes see Shondell labor over what I would normally do, like mowing the lawn. Shondell's taking care of the animals on the farm. I mean, she runs the entire gamut. And I'm not saying that because she feels like she has to, that she's her personality is a red. She's not like that at all. I think you're more of a yellow, submissive, meek, humble. But we want to give you some nuggets tonight that have helped us along the way. I wanted to just start off with a quick story. Can I do that?
Sure.
So back when I was traveling, I would come home, maybe twice a week?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes? So sometimes
he came home twice a week.
Well, what's that mean? There was other times I'd come home. How often?
Once a week or every other week.
Okay.
Chad traveled quite a lot.
I did.
So
but
he
again,
was gone.
That was it was tough for me to. So I did that for 19 years. Is that fair to say? So again, that's not something to brag about. That's just, there was something about me being at home that was very, very tough. Seeing Shondell have to help me. Maybe now you know where we're going to go tonight about this gratitude thing and marriage and trying to tie this all together. So back then when I was traveling, I remember coming home one time and one thing about Shondell is she doesn't like to see me do some of the things by myself at home that I would normally do on the road. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And it's because it takes me time. It takes time for me to shower. It takes time for me to get dressed. Whereas Shondell would rather have me, instead of getting up early, she would rather have me come follow me with the kids and have me ready. And you have me dressed in how long? Well, I mean, what's
5 minutes
or less?
Yeah.
I mean, Shondell has it's quick. She's got me dressed. There is a problem with though you getting me. I don't like it, and you know this. We've had many arguments about this, getting dressed thing.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't like that I pick out what he wears.
I think it's wrong. I think it goes against temple covenants. I think you should go see the bishop, or I don't care, any pastor. You should go see some, because if I ask for a Harley Davidson shirt, you shouldn't put on a button-up white shirt and a tie. I wanted to wear my Harley Davidson shirt for tonight's Fireside, and you put this on me. And so I'm not wearing these clothes. I didn't say I'm not grateful for her help. That's different. I am grateful. I just don't like her help.
But if I get to help him, I get to pick. So
yeah,
and he's actually exaggerating. I usually do put on him what he asks. Just sometimes I don't.
Not tonight. I'm wearing a shirt and tie, and I wanted to wear my Harley Davidson shirt. Back to the story real quick, and then we're going to go to Shondell. There was a time that she would. This is where it really kind of came to a head with me. I was really struggling in our marriage. Do you remember the time that you were helping me in the shower and I fell? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So I fell in the shower, and it was just Shondell and I. The kids were young. I had come home off a road trip. I was only home for a day or maybe 2 days. And so the kids, weren't big enough to necessarily help me get back in the chair. And so I was on the ground, and I wasn't dressed at all. I know it sounds like a unique, I don't know what the word is, special opportunity. That's not what it is at all. It's the tile floors are not good for my body. The cold, right? So Shondell grabbed the towel, covered me up, started drying me off. And then she made step number 2. She made that effort to get me in the wheelchair. And that was a problem. It's not that I didn't want her help, but when she came down to lift me and get me back in that chair, I mean, I'm like 180 pounds. I mean, you're like, I don't want to, she doesn't weigh very much. And so she went to pick me up. And when she did, that's when I went berserk. I saw sweat. I saw not even just a bead. I mean, she was working her tail off. And I looked at her and was looking at her head, and there was sweat. I mean, Clint, you and I have talked about this before. You and I have had many intimate and sacred conversations between us because we're both brothers, and we've talked about this marriage thing. And when I saw Shondell, Clint knows how much pride I have. I have so much pride. I know that's wrong, but I saw a bead of sweat come down. And when I saw her start to sweat because she was laboring and trying to help me, I said some things to my wife that a wife or a woman should never hear from another man, ever. And when Shondell heard those words, she didn't say anything back to me. She started to cry, and I still feel bad about that to this day. I know that I've asked for your forgiveness, but I don't think I've forgiven myself for that. But I said some things to Shondell that caused her to go so far as to the other side of the door. She didn't leave me maybe 5 feet. And she was crying. And Shondell came back in and said something to this effect. And if I get it wrong, please correct me. She said, if you want someone else to come in and help you, we can do that. If you want someone else to come into our bedroom and our bathroom and our place of talking, our place of watching a movie together, our place of just cuddling, our place of just our sanctuary is which is, if you want somebody else to enter that place of service, which is what she was doing and trying to help me there, then we'll call up a professional and have them come help us. But if the roles were reversed and I was on the floor and she's talking about her, would you let somebody, or would you want somebody to come in? Am I getting this right? Mm-hmm. Would you want somebody to come in and shower and help me? And I said, the answer is absolutely not. I would never let somebody come in here. She said then that I didn't know anything about a love language. She said that her love language was service. And if she couldn't serve me in her own home, then why else would she, or where else could she start or begin to serve? She wanted to serve in the home. And ever since that day, I've been pretty good while on the road about being authentically grateful. I mean, I've slipped up here and there, but the last 4 months have been more like I haven't. There's been no airplanes. There's been no traveling. There's been no firesides for me to. There's been other than me just driving out by myself. And so the first message tonight would be to be authentically grateful for the person that you married as they age and grow, not the person that you fell in love with back when they were 17 years old. I remember when I was in high school, I had this ideal. I wrote a paper on it. In fact, I shared with you the paper. I had 3 criteria for the woman that I was going to marry. Criteria number 1 was they had to have a body like Cindy Crawford. Number 2 was they had to meet up to my family standards. I had very, very high family standards. My dad is LDS, my mom is Catholic, and the standards are high in my house. Book of Mormons and candles is what I grew up with. And standard number 3 is that they needed to meet the approval of the mother of Jesus, which was Mary. That was my criteria. And I know that those and that's way out there, but that's what I wrote in the paper. And I got way more than I bargained for. Shondell and I, as we mentioned earlier, have now been together for 30 years, been married for 25 of those. And I can tell you today that I'm not just saying this to put our best face forward. I want the woman that I am married to today. I might have gotten what I had written on that paper, those 3 criteria, that I don't want that woman anymore. I want Shondell as she is. She's helped me to be more Christ-like, and we're going to share some of those attributes tonight that'll help you in a marriage. But with that, I want to kind of open it up to some questions, and I've got a little device on my lap where the questions are coming in from, and I want to maybe let Shondell share a few thoughts that you had, and then we're going to I've got some points that I've jotted down from my journal that I want to share. Is that okay?
Sure.
So
yeah, sure. So as Chad talked a little bit about earlier, he's been on the road quite a lot the last maybe 17, 18 years. We've learned how to make a marriage work at a distance because he's traveled so much for speaking and his business has been very busy. And there's other reasons other than just being busy with his business that he was gone. He talked a little bit about not feeling as independent at home because he didn't like to watch me take care of him and do things for him. And I know on the road, he felt like he was really fulfilling a mission of helping people. And so that's probably the main reason he's been gone so much. But we really learned how to make a marriage work with those circumstances. And this past 4 months has been very different for us with him being home constantly. He's been home for 4 months or longer now, and that hasn't happened since way before his accident. And it's been definitely a different way of life to get used to. It hasn't been either good or bad. It's just been different, a different way to get used to. I think before, sometimes we'd have a struggle, and it was easier to deal with because Chad would be on the road again the next day, and we'd talk it out on the phone and things would be fine, and he'd be gone for a few days or a week. And by the time he'd come back, things were blown over and everything was really good. But in person, it's a little bit more difficult. And also,
that wasn't even new to the accident. The day I got hurt, we had a little bit of a spat.
Right.
I think you could relate that to this.
Right. Yeah. So did you want me to share that?
I think you should, because it makes it relative that you don't have to be in a wheelchair to learn life's principles about marriage. I mean, we had, and something special happened that day, other than I broke my neck, which is not what you want. I mean, I know you were mad at me, but you didn't wish for that, right? So,
right.
So we had a little spat. You should probably
share
that and make it relevant. Is that right? I know we didn't plan on that, but I just thought of that.
Okay. So a lot of wives probably could relate to this story because I had two little boys, 3 and 1 at home, and I've been lucky enough to be able to be at home with my boys. And the day before Chad's accident was a typical day where he would come home from work, and I'd been home with the kids all day, and I had dinner ready for him when he got home. And as soon as he got home, he went down into the family room downstairs and turned on a ball game, and we ate dinner, in front of the TV. I brought him his dinner and we ate. And then after we got done eating, I cleared up the dishes and took him upstairs and did the dishes, and he watched his ball games and the kids were playing. And by the end of the night, I was a little bit frustrated because I had zero of his time and 0 of his attention. And I remember,
it was Michael Jordan.
I remember thinking, that I've been home all day and you've been gone all day, but I need a little bit here, come help me with the dishes or come talk to me at least. And anyway, so it was a little bit of an argument that night, but it was good because I think it helped wake him up a little bit.
This is the night before the accident. This is April 2nd. Is that right? Is that fair to say? This is April 2nd, 2001.
Right.
Okay.
So, but the next day was a special day because throughout the day, he did something a little bit extraordinary. He would call me during the day when he was out at work and tell me to turn on the radio at a certain station and share a song with me. And he did that a few times during the day. So things were really good that day. Of course, then he came home and it turned into a not so good of a night. But I think it's important for us to maybe a couple principles just from that is to communicate. That the night before, as we had that disagreement, I was quiet most of the time and just letting it build up inside that he's not helping me. he's watching the ball game. He's not giving me any attention. And instead of just letting it build up inside, we just need to learn to communicate with each other and talk through things, because once we did, then things were better. So I think communication is huge, and just making things work and not letting things boil over inside. So great. I think that's a good principle to remember. But back to what I was talking about with Chad being home, is we've had to learn to face our differences head on, and instead of him being on the road and working it out that way, it's been very different for him to be home and have me help him do a lot of his daily needs. And he can be independent in ways, and there's a lot of things that I do for him, and that's hard for him. And so we've really learned and grown through that. I think we'll probably share a little bit more of that a little bit later on. Yeah.
So I wanted to share a couple of ideas. So a couple of nuggets that I would like you to maybe jot down that will help your marriage out a little bit. The first one, and we're going to be transparent tonight. We're going to be we're going to hold things sacred that need to be held sacred, but we have nothing to hide. Again, come forward with your questions. Feel free to make comments. Clint is kind enough to be our host tonight. He's monitoring that. Shane and Mandy with Onward Productions are monitoring that as well. Please feel free to ask anything you would like, and we will get those. We will see those. We would love to hear from you and see where you're coming in from. Tonight we were talking about marriage and just what Shondell and I have done to make it work. The first thing that I have noted and journalized is that spend private time together. Now, I'm not talking about intimacy necessarily, but it's very, very important that we spend private time together and spend it together often, whether that's a date, a movie night. For us, a lot of times that takes place in the front room, but the kids aren't there. It's just time for just her and I. Maybe it's not even talking. A lot of communication can be done without any talking whatsoever. It's just time together. Remember what she said about the night before I got hurt? I was not just talking to her. I wasn't spending time with her. She was up there doing the dishes. I was downstairs watching Sports Center. Michael Jordan, he had the game-winning shot that night. I remember exactly what I was watching, and so I wasn't spending time with Shondell. So have time together often. Time together. Number 2, this one's kind of a fun one. So if you guys like to watch Netflix, or if you like to watch your favorite show, whatever that is, be willing to watch your shows together often. Can I just be very, very bold? I don't like her movies. Okay. You know this. I mean, you don't like mine.
And I don't think that's true, because I really like chick flicks. And
let me finish.
And I know he watches them and enjoys them a lot more than he lets on.
See, so we need to agree here, even though in my heart I know it. So the truth is, she likes movies like A Walk to Remember. I think it's a dumb show. She likes The Choice. You like The Longest Ride. You like movies like that. You like, give me a couple more.
Ever After.
Ever After. She loves Ever After. Stupid movie. She likes
the live version Cinderella.
The live version of Cinderella, where that one's not a bad one, but where she's put in a blue dress and then they fall in love at the end and it's happened. She likes those. I like the clean version of Tombstone. I love Tombstone.
Is there a clean version?
Well, it should be rated R. It should not be rated R. It's a great movie. There's no scenes in it or anything like that. There's some bad words, and I get that. A little bit of bloodshed. I love pirates. You know this. I love pirates. My favorite. I love all nine. Now there's 10 Star Wars movies. I can't get enough of those. I will put those in immediately. And so one night, when Shondell talks about the movies, Shondell came home and she put in a new one, the pageant one with the Sandra Bullock.
Congeniality.
Stupid Miss Congeniality. She put it in for us to watch, and here's the worst part: is she put it in for us to watch, and says I was coming home off a road trip. She put in that Geniality, the Sandra Bullock show, and then she fell asleep on my lap. So it got from bad to worse because I didn't want to watch this. I wanted to watch Tombstone or Pirates or Star Wars or give me something that got some action into it. That something about war, anything like that. And she put in this Sandra Bullock chick flick, and she fell asleep within like minutes, and I couldn't reach the control and my hands don't work anyways. So I couldn't hit the button to switch it to what I wanted to watch. And so I had to watch the whole movie while she was sleeping on my lap. And I had two thoughts. My first thought was kind of a selfish thought that I thought, this is kind of cool because I was brushing your hair with a brush, and she was just kind of enjoying that moment. And I thought, this is kind of cool. Here, my wife feels comfortable enough with me in a 95% numb body that she is falling asleep. That's a cool feeling. That's the pride that I was talking about earlier. I have a lot of pride in that. My second feeling, my second thought was a little more selfish. How can I not wake her up but still get to that? So I watched the whole movie by myself, and then at the end,
he liked it.
I liked the movie.
It was a good movie.
I thought it was a great movie. So that's number 2, is to never watch an episode by yourself. Number 3, this one's very, very key. Tell them your feelings for them often. Don't wait for an anniversary, Valentine's Day, a birthday. Don't wait for Easter. Don't wait for. Tell them your feelings for them often. John, by the way, says daily. And if you don't tell them, write them down. What's the movie that you like where he writes a letter to her every day and says The Notebook? Again, I know that they die together, and I know that you like that, and but it's just not my. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Write your feelings down for them every single day. They'll cherish that. Let me give you a number 4. This one's really important. Make sure that your spouse is the very first person you go to for a challenge, a struggle, advice. It doesn't mean they have to be an expert or a professional in that category, but I should make sure that Shondell is the very, very first person I go to if I'm struggling right here about my paralysis. I know she's not paralyzed. I don't expect her to understand. I just want to share with her. I might not understand some of the challenges that she's going through because her day is so. I mean, you're. Let's just be honest. You're up at 5. You're in bed by 11. Right now, you're feeding, I think, 12 horses. You're feeding a baby horse that lost its mother. You are moving water, which takes 3 hours every day, 7 days a week, because we live on a farm. The kids do help her with that, but she is out there. And even though I get a little bit antsy and I have anxiety over that, I don't like it. If I don't put myself in a place where she can trust me to come talk to me about, hey, I broke a water line, because then I'm going to get, if I get angry because they broke a water line, then she won't share that with me. That will destroy a relationship real quick. So are you the person in your relationship where you put yourself in a place of potential that you're going to be the very, very first person that your spouse comes to when they have a question, something positive to share? Maybe it's a little love whispering, whatever it is for you. Are you that first person? And I need to remind myself of that daily. I have a little sticky note in my office. It just says, be the first person. That's all the sticky note says. Remember to be the first person for your spouse. I want to go back to number 1 for a second, that private time. And if I have kids listening tonight, I want you to hear this very, very carefully. We talked about private time. And I didn't say the word intimacy because that's not what it's all about. But I just want to make sure that we're very, very clear as it pertains to intimacy. And I think you'll be okay if I share this. I hope you will. People today treat it like it's some game. You can scroll on the internet. All you need is an app, and you can download stuff for free. And people sometimes share that as though it were some game. And you don't have to go too far. I can just go to my kid's high school, and it's right there. I can go to any high school, and it's right there. You wouldn't give that up if you were sitting in a wheelchair. So don't wait to lose something in your life before you hold it sacred. And yes, I am talking about intimacy. I am talking about your thoughts and what you're putting in your head. I am talking about pornography. I am talking about things that will destroy a marriage quicker than you can possibly imagine. And you only have to be 16 or 17 years old before you start putting those head in your mind. Please don't allow Satan or the adversary to get a hold of you at a young age to where you have these idealistic thoughts or expectations of when the day comes that you do get to be married to your eternal companion, or your life companion, whatever it is for you. Don't do that. That will ruin a marriage faster than anything. And so I would ask you to be very, very cognizant of what you let your eyes watch and what you let your ears hear. They could be the very, very evil and the very, very thing that could destroy your entire relationship. Maybe you should take over from here for a second.
You want me to go on with your
You
list?
this is my list. I don't know if you have a couple thoughts you want to share. You can share my list.
Well, I actually do have a quote that I wanted to share. I tried to print it and my printer didn't work. So let me just share this.
This is cool.
I
like this quote.
know Chad has his list of tips and things that we have tried to work on and ideas that will help us. But this is one that I have loved because it's been something that I've been able to try and develop in my life because of our circumstance. And it's something that we can all learn. It's not just something that I can do because of Chad's paralysis. But it says, the secret of a happy marriage is to serve God and each other. The goal of marriage is unity and oneness, as well as self-development. Paradoxically, the more we serve one another, the greater is our spiritual and emotional growth. And I know that in the very beginning days when it was so hard after Chad's accident, the thing that got me through was the idea that I was able to serve him. And we serve those that we love. And Chad said earlier that my love language is service. And that's how I show him how much I love him. And I think if we can develop that as couples and we can serve each other and serve God at the same time, that will create great unity in a marriage. And so that's one of the quotes that I love. That quote was actually...
Who's it by so they can look it up?
Yeah, I was going to tell you. It's by President Ezra Taft Benson, and it was in a talk in July of 1992. So
okay, so go look that up and check that out.
Yeah.
Do you want to share your second thought on there?
I can share one more thing.
Okay.
So this one also I've learned to love, especially through our circumstance, not just Chad's accident, but through all the trials that we've gone through. And everyone has different trials. But this is by Elder M. Russell Ballard. And it says, sometimes we need a personal crisis to reinforce in our minds what we really value and cherish. The scriptures are filled with examples of people facing crisis before learning how to better serve God and others. Perhaps if you too search your hearts and courageously assess the priorities in your life, you may discover, as I did, that you need a better balance among your priorities. And
that's so pertinent for today, right? The
Right.
crisis that we're going through, this time of isolation and quarantine. What a great time. It's right there. When people are facing a crisis, I kind of thought about this. Don't wait to face a crisis before you learn how to be a better servant of God and a better spouse to your wife or to your husband. But we are going through a economic crisis right now. A lot of people are facing challenges and they're having to face things in their marriage that perhaps they've never had to face before. What a perfect time to work on those things that are most important.
Yeah.
Serve each other. Some of you see me. I've been brushing Shondell's hair back, and it's because it's hot in the studio we have, and Shondell has told me
the lights are so bright and it's so hot in here.
Even the air conditioner is not outweighing the heat from the lights in here, and so I've done that just to kind of keep her neck cool. And so she has long dark hair, and I don't want her to. Remember what I said about her sweating? I don't like to see. And this is probably a lot of work for you to be on the camera. And,
No, it's fine.
So I love those thoughts. Thanks for sharing. Elder Ballard and President Ezra Taft Benson. Perfect.
Yeah.
I wanted to share this one. So this one's kind of good. Very, very good. It's by a talk by Joe Calloway. Go look it up. Joe Calloway is a friend of mine back in Nashville, and he said, "Let it go." 3 words. Let it go. So when you have an argument with a spouse or things don't go well, don't bring it up again. Let it go. That's one thing that I know you're smiling because maybe you should tell Mike this will make it real. Tell him why you're smiling. What do I bring it up over and over. I keep asking the same question. It's like I question our love.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot.
I do. Rather, it's not even an argument. I just question. Maybe it's insecurity. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is.
I don't know either, but something will happen and he'll say, "You really do love me." And I'll say, "Yes, I do. Did you wonder if I really did, even over the past 25, 30 years?
You wrote me a card and you gave it to me this morning."
And he says, you must really love me. Well, I do really love you. And if you don't know that, I must be doing a bad job at showing it. But no, it's true. When things happen, we have to let it go. Like he was saying, something happens and one of us will inevitably always make a mistake and hurt the other's feelings. But once the sorries are said and things are better, don't wait for the next time that it happens and then say, remember when, and bring it up again. It's just something you just have to let go.
You ready for number 6? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready for this one's probably the most important one, I think, of all of them. Number 6. So, all right, we're getting, okay, good. So we're seeing some things. Thanks for Cheryl, thanks. So I got people. David, thanks. Jonah, thanks. So be kind and understanding more than you are right. Be kind and understanding more than you are right. Just because it's your way does not mean that it's the only way that it has to be done. I have learned that from being in this chair. I mean, what am I anal about when it comes to the house?
Oh, everything has to be perfectly in its place.
I am
clean.
Such a jerk about that. I am so anal about the dust on. I mean, you remember when we were dating? Remember my trophies?
Yeah, they were all clean.
My trophies. I had a whole shelf, like 20 trophies from basketball and baseball, and they were always spotless. I mean, dusted. I don't even know what you've done with them. You must have given them to DI. They're gone.
Yeah, I didn't want to dust them for the last 30 years, so I gave them away.
Did you really do that?
No.
Because I won't let that go.
Okay.
Did you do that really?
Yeah, I don't know where they are. I'm sorry.
My trophies?
Right.
Well, let it go. I don't know if I can let that one go, but we need to let it go. Be kind and understanding before you are right. Just because I have a certain way that the lawn needs to be mowed doesn't mean that it needs to be mowed my way. It's okay. It's okay. Just because I might take care of the fields or water differently than Shondell doesn't mean that I'm right and that she's wrong. So while we can laugh and joke about this, please be kind and understanding more than you are right. I have learned that from being in my chair. Even the way that we raise and discipline our kids. I mean, I swear that my kids have never heard me say the word no. I am confident that my kids have never, ever heard. Oh, I've said it.
I was going to say, I've heard it.
I've said it a lot. They just don't ever hear it. And Shondell, so I get upset with my kids when I say, no, Gracie, you can't go out. You're only 15 years old. No, Caleb, you can't watch that show. It's got bad language. No, Kyler, you're not going out tonight. You're helping us in the field. You're going to help your mother. No. And it just goes in one ear and it goes out the other. And then I get so angry and frustrated. I think it happened yesterday at the cabin on the 4th of July with Gracie. I asked Gracie to be in a picture and she said, she said no. And then I said, no, you're going to be in this family picture. And it went in one ear and out. Then she just walked right into the cabin without taking the picture that I wanted with the family because she didn't feel like her hair looked fine. And I thought she looked fine herself. And instead of me being kind and understanding, I thought that I was right. And I wasn't the first one to apologize. What happened last night with my own daughter, my own beautiful daughter? I mean, I still mess up. What did my daughter do?
She said sorry first.
She said sorry first. She came to me and said, Dad, I'm sorry. I should have done what you asked. She said, I'm sorry. Oh, remember, she said, I'm sorry for being disrespectful, Dad. And I lost it because I thought, wait a second. I was the one that didn't respect the fact that you didn't want to be in the picture. That was on me. So I know we're talking about marriage, but this can tie into children as well. Please don't think that Shondell and I, or me, I mean, I believe that my wife is dang close to perfect. I know you don't like to hear it, but that's what I believe. I do not have this mastered. I do not want. I don't know why Shane and Mandy asked us to talk about marriage tonight. We do not have this mastered, but I'm giving you some ideas that will help. That help me. So sorry, my eyes are a little bit wet. Here, my tie. All right. Okay, so we're good there. So here, I want to give a couple more ideas from my journal that you guys can that you'll like. So number 7. Here we go. Don't. Maybe you can elaborate on this. Don't take things so serious. Don't take things so personal. Any thoughts on that one?
I love a quote, and it's by Eleanor Roosevelt, and I'll probably mutilate it, but it says something like, no one can offend me without my permission. And I think in marriage, a lot of times we get offended by the things that our spouses say when they maybe did not mean them in the context that we took them. And I think that's kind of a big one, that we need to just have a sense of humor and laugh about things and be able to take things lightly and not just get offended by what people say or our spouses say, when a lot of times they don't even mean any offense by it. So don't allow ourselves to get offended, because it can ruin relationships and cause a lot of hard feelings.
Cool. Next one. So Richard and Evelyn, I want you to listen to this one. Clint and I want you to listen to this one. Shane, listen to this one. If you work with your spouse, if your spouse helps you pay the bills, if your spouse helps do the financials, if your spouse has anything to do with any type of the day-to-day getting the mail and sorting that out, whatever, don't view your spouse as a business partner, but view them every bit as a friend. Do not view your spouse as a business partner. That has been one that's been tough for me, because I will ask Shondell to do invoicing. Is that fair to say? Like, get the invoices, accounts payable? Because Shondell works she puts in about 4 hours a day in the office. She's the office manager, and that's her job, is to pay all the bills and do accounts payable and receivable. And I, on several occasions, have maybe said, Shondell, can we get the invoices done today? And her schedule has not allowed her to do that. And so I'll view her as a business partner and think to myself, why did she not get the business done today? For the business need to be done, when that can easily wait till tomorrow, because I wanted it done today, and that causes problems. Instead, when I viewed her as my, not just my love or my lover, but my best friend, we are closer to God because of that. Next one, read the scriptures with your spouse every day. I need help on that. We read them good separately. Yeah. We do good separately. I feel like I get my scriptures done in the office. I think you do them. Well, you're doing them in the morning, then you do them. Come follow me with the kids when I'm out in the office, usually after they get in from moving water. Right. Which, I just thought of. Maybe I should come in the house and be a part. I don't know why I can't do that. Right. I don't know why I can't schedule a time between 11 and noon to come follow me with you and the kids and leave the office. Yeah. I should do that. But reading scriptures together, whatever scriptures that is for you, maybe if it's not even scriptures, maybe that's watching a good talk. I don't know. We've watched some good Elder Holland talks together. You and I have. We've listened. Shondell, he's just at my tongue. He came out here and he spoke for us.
Brad Wilcox.
Brad Wilcox did, but there was another one. And he brought his wife. Remember the chapel? Kelly brought him in. Oh, I forget his name, Sean. I'm so sorry. He's talked to us in the gym of the church, and we sat there and he made us laugh.
Oh, Matt Townsend.
Matt Townsend. Look him up. Look up his talks. Matt Townsend. Brilliant on marriage. Look up his talks on marriage. They're phenomenal. He did a great job, and he really makes you think about your relationship. Right. Matt Townsend. Look him up. Watch his videos. Listen to his talks, and listen to him as a couple. You'll come away with some nuggets that will help your marriage immensely. So do that. It's easy to be grateful for the big things. Be grateful. This is number 10. Be grateful for each other, and be grateful for each other's contributions and the small little tiny things that your spouse or your partner does on a daily basis, even if it's not for you. So it would sound something like this. Shondell, thanks for taking care of the invoicing.
A week late.
Shondell, thanks for putting in ever after. But the catch with that is it can't be fake. It can't be fake. It's got right. I gotta be. You have to be real about it.
It's okay. I bring him ice cream with peanuts on it, and that way he'll watch whatever movie I pick.
But you have to be authentic and real. Is my point. And I have to genuinely, authentically be grateful. Don't be fake grateful. Don't just say it. And I think our mom and dad taught us this. Don't not say it if you don't mean it. Really mean it. So be authentic and be real. The word that comes to my mind is compassion. The root word of compassion is passion. What does passion mean in Greek? It means being willing to suffer for those that you love and care about. Am I willing to suffer and love like Christ did? Christ embodies passion and compassion. Am I willing to suffer for Shondell the way that she suffers for me? When I say suffer, I see it, because you don't even let me get up. I got to get up every 2 hours and move my body. When I'm in a hotel, folks, by myself, I do it by myself. I don't travel with a nurse. I don't travel. When I'm in a hotel, it takes me about 10 minutes. I get up, I stretch out my body, and I do it by myself. I've now been home for 128 days. I'm not counting. I've been home for 128 days. That has not taken place in 20 years. I have been home since March the 6th, 128 days. And not one night since I've been home have I stretched out every 2 hours by myself. Shondell won't let me do it. Her love language is service. When she feels me start to get up and twitch and turn, she immediately gets up and she moves my leg over. She stretches out my back and helps me turn so I don't get a pressure sore. I just have this internal clock. I wake up every 2 hours and I go right back to sleep. And I know how hammered and tired she's got to be. I mean, I know. And she refuses. So I need to be grateful. That's not a small thing, folks. That's a big thing. That's huge. My spouse gets up every 2 hours to help me. I'll give you a couple more here and then we'll go to a few questions. Shane, Mandy, Clint, send me over a few questions that you might see that I don't see here on the screen, if there's any, and we're good to go. So maybe
switch it to live comments up there.
Yeah, we can do that. Or they'll put them right through here on this. I should get it right through here, Shondell, if we want. And we don't have to go over to the computer. That'll be cool. So remember this one. So our feelings are not any more important or any more valid than theirs. I'll say it again. My feelings are not any more important or any more valid than Shondell's. So what I'm feeling must be valid to me. I need to make it valid to her. Maybe marriage never was about me. Maybe it's about my spouse. I know that people are always looking for the right one. Switch that. Why don't you try and be the right one for somebody? Again, I wrote this in my blog. If you go to that the article that I wrote in preparation for today, people today can pick and choose as though it were a smorgasbord or a menu of what they want. I'm looking for a 6'2" gal, blonde hair, blue eyes, and I'm just being careful. I'll be careful. I'm not against social media sites. Don't hear that. I'm just saying they're looking for, and they can pick and choose what they're looking for and think that they're finding Mrs. Right. Heck, we've been married for 30, 25. Well, we've been together for 30 years. 25 of those married. Been in a wheelchair for 20 of those years almost. And I am finding out that I am being married to Mrs. Right because we're growing together. We're learning together. I'm finding out what my weaknesses are. She might be finding out what hers are. I don't want to speak on your behalf regarding that. And this I'll be at the end when I die. I'll be able to say that I was married to the love of my life. Not because I found her in advance. We grew through that together. We grew through the challenges together, the financial burdens, the arguments, the raising of children, the disagreements that we had, the timing and the untiming of certain items. We grew through that together. That is the love of a lifetime, and that's where love is developed. And when I can focus on that, I don't worry about her being married to a quadriplegic. I'm the person that she wanted to be married to. So don't find Mr. and Mrs. Right. Try and be the right person for that individual. Let's go.
Text.
Yeah, I need to look at my text. Can I share one more thing here?
Yeah.
So I'm going to skip a couple, but this one's kind of a fun one. Smile at the smile at the quirks, the quirks. Smile at the quirks that your spouse does, even the little things. A smile goes a long way, rather than just a straight face. And sometimes when Shondell's getting me dressed, I'll put on the silent treatment. Why are you laughing? You know it's true.
Because Chad and I don't
Do you still love me
very
right now?
often
Do you love me right
argue, but I can tell when he's not happy because he's more silent.
I just go quiet.
And silence is deadly. You have to talk. You have to talk through your feelings.
Kills her.
It's so hard.
It kills her. And it's because I'm letting Satan get to my mind thinking, you're letting your wife get you dressed. You're letting your wife cut up your fish, your steak. I know, it's just a small, your wife is serving you salad tonight and she cut it up. I let those thoughts start entering my mind. Instead of smiling at her like this, it looked like this. Hey. Hey, Hottie. Hey, Hottie. I don't think I've ever called you Hottie.
No, never.
Never. Sorry. I can't
Never.
believe I just said that on camera. What do I usually call you? There's several. I call you Bucket.
You call me Bucket. You call me Princess.
I call her Princess a lot.
Yeah.
I call her Princess. Hey, Princess. Thanks for dinner. Thanks for letting me travel the way that I travel. Thanks for taking care of all the animals. Thanks. You're smiling because I need to work on this. I know, but
No, you say all these things a lot.
I could do better, but I'm probably fake about it.
Maybe sometimes.
Sometimes I know that I know when you help me shower, I can go quiet real quick. Is that fair? Because my body has changed and it's not, I mean, it's all ribs and atrophy, and you tell me that you didn't marry me for my body. I take offense to that. I mean, she says she didn't marry me. I'm just saying. And then she'll say this. She'll say, did you marry me for mine? How am I supposed to answer that? Remember the Cindy Crawford criteria? I mean, and and being facetious and all jokes aside, you know, I get the law of attraction. I understand that. When I look at my body, I have to laugh. So I not laugh with Shondell at it as well. If I don't start laughing, I'll go silent or I'll cry. The silent treatment, as you said, so much more eloquently than what I say, it is a killer. It is deadly. Remember the first thing we talked about tonight? Talk with your spouse. Talk. Did you have something you want to share?
You can finish. Go ahead.
No, I sure thought. I'm going to go to the questions. And we're going to wrap
Okay.
this up because we're
Okay.
ready to wrap it up.
All right. So one of the things that I wanted to share is something that I think can give anyone a good perspective in their marriage, a good marriage, a great marriage, a marriage that has struggles. And that is a perspective of eternity. And I love, there's a picture, and I wish I had it, we could put it on the screen, but it shows the past, the present, and the future. And above the present, it has man's view, and it's pretty much the present. But above that, it says God's view, and it encompasses the past, present, and the future. And so having a perspective of eternity can really help us. It says, seen with the perspective of eternity, a temporal setback can be an opportunity to develop soul power of eternal significance. Strength is forged in adversity, and faith is developed in a setting where we cannot see what lies ahead. And I know, especially with Chad and I's circumstance, a lot of times he'll, like we said earlier, you really do love me. And he'll kind of question that, and he'll say, but I can't get up and saddle a horse for you. I can't go out and work in the fields, and I can't even dance with you or walk and hold your hand. And but my perspective is not just right now and the life that we're living right now. It's a perspective of eternity. And this is a short time. And I know that those things will happen. Those things will happen at a later date. And so I think a lot of times our problems can be minimized by just having an eternal perspective. Look further to the future and not just right now. I think that can help us.
How do we handle disputes with our children? Is a question that came in front of each other. You know, when I get upset with my kids, and Shondell's right there, my kids just run for the stairs. It ticks me off when they do that. They say, you know, come get me, Daddy, come get me. And I've had to swear at them just to get them to listen to me. And then it goes south from there. I've had to throw things at them. Shondell has been one to lead by example, by humility, the way that Christ would teach. I am a little bit more quick to anger. When a child makes a mistake, and we had this happen recently, where it required both parents to be involved in how we were going to handle the situation. Shondell and I met together out in my office. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about how we were going to approach it. And then we went in, and I started the conversation with love. And that was one of the most loving experiences. I'm not going to remember the mistake of the child, but I'm going to remember how he felt in that room.
Mm-hmm.
How, right? As we talked about that with a child,
right.
I'm going to remember that. Whether it's a messy bedroom or, you know, a missed chore or a mistake made by a child where the child needs to be disciplined, rather than me jump ship all over that child, I need to say, Shondell, you know, what's your thoughts on this? Should we do it together, or, you know, can you keep the kids from going down the stairs this time? Man, what can we do on this? And so I just, I wanted to, I had a thought, and maybe it's good that I forgot it because, you want to share? I have one more thought, then we're going to be done. But you share.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as the comment about handling disputes in front of our kids, something I think is really important as a couple is to not have disagreements in front of your kids. You can disagree, but make sure that you're respecting each other and you're doing it in a humble way so that the kids can learn how to handle those situations when they get older, and that they don't just sit and witness an argument between parents that they don't necessarily need to see. But you can disagree, and as you do it in a humble way, listening, that your own kids can learn how to handle disputes in their own lives and how to listen. There's a quote that says the time to listen is when somebody needs to be heard. And I love that, because that is a time we need to listen. And so if you have a dispute and your children are around, then, you can talk through it humbly and graciously. And then if needs be later on, it can be discussed without your children around.
Love that. The comment was made here is, when did you and Shondell finally learn, the perfection of marriage? And I hope you've heard the whole message the last 55 minutes is we are growing. We are learning together. I am married to the right one, and I'm going to grow with her in that. Shondell might not have been the right one when we got married. I probably wasn't the right one because we had to learn new things about each other as we got married, but it's about being the right one for your spouse. I think we're going to turn the time over to Clint Pulver, and he's going to facilitate some questions for Shondell specifically. But I want to say one thing as we come to Clint. I do want to say one more thing. Forgive me for being over talkative. If you think your kids aren't watching you, your affection towards your spouse, or your disputes or your arguments, think twice. And that's exactly how they're going to treat their spouse. If you think for 1 second that your kids are not inherently watching, viewing, learning from you without you even arguing in front of them, or if you think that they can't hear you in the bedroom, you are arguing. You are so wrong. What was it, just last month? It wasn't even, we didn't even have an argument. I just pulled one of those silent treatments about a month ago, and both of my boys, and one of them's married. He's not even living with us. Ace is not even living in our house, and he sensed it. They came over, they got me in the truck, and we went for a drive up to the cabin, and both boys said, "Dad, Mom seems down, Dad." I said, "Well, what do you want me to do? I mean, I don't expect you guys to understand. Dad, you're the only one that can fix it, Dad. Can you just tell her that you're grateful for her, Dad? Dad, we know you didn't get mad at her." I told him, I said, I didn't swear, I didn't say anything. And my oldest boy, along with his younger brother who just got home from a mission, said, "Dad, that's the problem, Dad. You don't say anything, Dad. You just sit there and you won't eat your food, Dad. And you just sit there, and it kills Mom, Dad." So if you think for 1 second that your kids, your married kids, so the message for me is to show how much I love Shondell in front of my children's faces. Hold her hand, brush her hair while we're watching The Longest Ride, whatever one of your shows are. Brush her hair, demonstrate that it's not all about me. My kids will pick up on that, and they'll treat their spouses the same way. We must demonstrate what a good marriage looks like to our children. We must show them. It means that we should probably, pull one of these. I mean, we should.
Even though the kids cover their eyes.
They do. The two younger
the
ones.
The
little ones do.
Younger.
Caleb gets grossed out by a kiss.
Yeah.
But he's
That's
only
okay.
It's all right. So, but that, it's just showing them affection. With that, I don't want to babble. We'll turn the time over to Clint, and we'll get ready to wrap this puppy up.
Awesome. I was just about to say, get a room, you two. Geez, we're live. Everybody in the chat right now, show Chad and Shondell some love. If you learned something tonight, if you enjoyed this experience, in the chat, just tell them how much you appreciated it. They're taking time away from their families to be here tonight to give to you. So let me be the first to say, Chad and Shondell, we love you. We're so grateful. I learned a ton tonight. And lastly, but most important, Shondell, you're an angel. You are an angel. Chad, I don't know how you did it. But you're super lucky. And Shondell, you're incredible. And Chad, I can say that you're my brother. But man, you really married up, my friend.
Thanks, Clint. I appreciate that. I can put on a good face.
Well, it's been an incredible night. I have just two really quick questions. Do you have a second for some questions? Just two fast ones.
Sure.
Chad, one of our good friends, Nathan Ogden, is on and he's watching. And he posed a really great question. Nathan, what's up? We love you. Just wanted to say hi. But also wanted to...
Nathan and Heather, right?
Yeah, Nathan Ogden. And he asked the question, he said, what are some good date ideas that you guys have? So date ideas in general, but also date ideas for somebody that's in a wheelchair. Nathan Ogden is also in a wheelchair, and he wanted to just ask, what are some date ideas? Give us some creative ideas that you guys have done.
There's not too much that able-bodied people do that we do not. So is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I can't believe that Nathan is asking this question, because if you look at I showed you the video. You can tell him.
We've been watching Nathan's videos that he posted on, I don't know, was it Facebook?
It was 4th of July. It was just yesterday.
Swimming with his family and his girl.
No, not swimming. That's not true. He didn't swim.
No, okay, he was floating.
Listen. No, what happened? So I asked Shondell if we could do this for a date.
I said no.
She said no. So we should be asking Nathan the question. Nathan allowed his 2 daughters to pick him up. He's a quad just like me, and throw him into a pool and no life jacket. And he just lays on his back and his body floats, and both the daughters jumping after. And I said, Shondell, we're going to Lake Powell next week. Can we do that?
No way.
And so Clint, what am I supposed to say to that? I mean, I thought that'd be an awesome date. But truth be told, Shondell and I love to go to the movies. Let me rephrase that. Shondell loves movie popcorn. She loves movie popcorn. It might not even be a movie we ever heard of. She just loves to go to the movies. And she doesn't want me to sit in my chair. She likes to, so we like to sit in that section where I can sit in a chair that rocks and sit right by her. Even right now, this is how it would be if we were in a movie theater, because my wheelchair takes a little bit of space on the side. Clint, you've seen that, because you've seen my tire fall off my chair down a ramp, the Dublin, Ireland airport, and you had to put me in my wheelchair after I fell off.
Hashtag Rocket Man.
That's why you call me Rocket Man. But in a movie theater, we're not apart. Other dates, we love to go and stay at the cabin. We love to do s'mores by a fire pit. Mm-hmm. There's not too many things that Shondell likes. Now, it's important that we do things together. We just went on a date the other night, just the 2 of us. But a lot of our dates are inclusive of our children. And Clint, back when planes were flying, Shondell and I dated a lot, just because that was part of my job, where she would meet me in San Diego, or that's her favorite city, or she would meet me in Nashville. That's my favorite city. And we would have a date that way. And we've had dates where here's been a cool date. I've come home at midnight just to spend 6 to 8 hours at home. And Shondell has had like my favorite dish, sitting with candles right there with a table set up.
Thai food.
Thai food.
You know that, Clint, because you and I've had a date at midnight together. You've had
romance going on. I know.
Anyway, that's my answer, Clint. That's my answer.
That's awesome. And last question, Shondell. There's a lot of husbands that are watching tonight. A lot of fathers. From a wife's perspective, and through your experience in being married to Chad, to all of the husbands out there, and they might be fathers as well, but I want to target this specifically to husbands. If you could tell the husbands watching one thing that they should remember to do for their sweethearts, one thing to do for their spouses, what would you tell the husbands of the world?
Well, so without taking a lot of time to think about that answer, I think the biggest thing would be just to try and recognize and appreciate all of the little things that they do. So, I know many husbands may not be fathers as well, but in my situation, because we do have kids, I think many times women have a lot of responsibility. And then on top of that, we have a tendency to take over a lot of the home chores, the taking care of the kids or the fixing dinner and things like that. And I think, especially where there's so many homes nowadays where both the husband and the wife might work away from the home, is that the things to do at home should be shared equally, and just to appreciate all of the things that your wives do, and also to accept all the things that they do. I know with Chad and I's circumstance, I have to do a lot of things for him that maybe, well, I guess I shouldn't say that maybe most wives don't do for their husbands, because I think before Chad's accident, I don't think he changed a poopy diaper. I don't think he did the dishes. I don't know if he ever pushed the vacuum cleaner, but
I dusted.
yeah, he did dust.
I dusted.
Because he didn't like how I dusted.
No, I dusted, Clint. I promise you, I
You dusted your trophies. Way to go, Chad.
Yes,
That's
my
right.
12 trophies were always dusted, Clint.
Right.
They were. I have my trophies from high school.
Yeah, but I think that's just one of the things, is just to appreciate and understand the effort that's put into a marriage, and try and reciprocate it and share in those things.
Did I really not change a diaper?
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Chad.
he didn't changing diaper. He didn't.
I'm sorry. We should probably have a closing prayer right now. I really don't remember changing a diaper.
It's what the atonement's for, Chad. You're good. It's okay. It's okay. Well, Shondell, I appreciate that. I think everybody needs to hear that, especially the husbands. You know, it is the little things, and marriage is work. I think that's the thing I've learned from this tonight, and it's been a good reminder for me that it is work, but it is something that is worth working for. And as we remember those little things and we show appreciation, I mean, there's nothing that my wife loves more. It's not the flowers, it's not the chocolate. It's when I do the dishes, right? It's the little things, and just letting her know that I'm here for her, and we're sharing in that responsibility together. And that's what marriage teaches you. It is not a bed of roses. It's not an easy ride. It's not a one quick, wonderful, blissful thing all the time. It is work. But man, the people that we become in that process is priceless. And I think that's why the Lord puts so much emphasis on marriage and eternal marriage, because of what it does for both of us in that process. And you both have taught us that tonight, and it's been a privilege. And again, what a treat. And I love you both. And I'm so grateful for you and taking the time to be here and to help us to be better along that journey of marriage. And so I appreciate it. And we're going to end tonight with Chad, you offering a closing prayer. And everybody, again, if you've enjoyed this, please share it. Please keep the comments coming. Little shameless plug, Hank Smith and myself are going to be hanging out tomorrow on Onward Productions. Yeah, we're going to be doing I don't know, it's not really fireside, but we're just going to be hanging out. We're going to be talking about how to create hope and perspective. So if you have any kids or any young people that are watching this, hop on tomorrow, register Onward Productions. They'll put a link here in the comments. And again, one more time, just saying thank you to Chad and Shondell. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we will see you next week. And we'll turn the time over to Chad.
Real quick before I pray, I just want to say congratulations to you and Kelly. I do believe that people that are married hang around those people that also are going through marriage as well, and find successful answers. And so Shondell and I have grown very, very close to Clint and Kelly. We love their family, and they are expecting child number 2. I believe it's I want to say it's December. I might be a little early on that, Clint. You're gonna have to
January. Yeah, January. Yeah. Thank you, Chad.
Congratulations. No, we love you and your wife.
I hope they've already announced that.
Yeah, it's been announced.
Okay, okay, good. Just checking.
Yeah, we announced
it. Just got announced. Yeah.
Okay.
We just announced it. So, what's Clint gonna do? Push me down a ramp? I mean, we've already done that before.
Yeah, we've already done it. There's nothing else I can do. I'll just buy you Thai food. We need to go on a date. That's what we need to do. Go on a double date. Shondell, Kelly, Clint, and Chad. Let's do it.
We should do that. We would love that. We would love that.
We'll
I'll say a closing prayer, but we love you and Kelly a lot.
I love you guys too.
Our Father in heaven, we are grateful this evening after the 4th of July, celebrating our freedoms, to be able to gather together in this virtual platform over the airwaves to share a message about thy laws between man and woman, and thy expectations, and marriage, and sacredity of that, and the christening of what a marriage is, and how couples can be together forever, and some of these little nuances and little principles that have big impacts on whether marriages make it to the eternities or whether they don't. We're grateful that we can do that on a day after we celebrate the freedoms that we can have a marriage of our choice, and be the right person for that individual in this land. Father, we pray that we might follow the example of Alma and be a more humble people, be a more submissive people, be a more accepting people. We are going through some very challenging times right now in our country, and it's very, very stressful on couples, whether it's financial burdens or food on the table for their children, or Father, there's so many things that are stressing out thy children. We know that thy purpose is right. We know that thou hast a will. We pray that we might succumb and surrender to that purpose and be more grateful, more humble, that our land might become prosperous yet again, and that the disease and differences that we are putting between each other, that might disappear, and that this nation that was put underneath thee as a sacred nation might be prosperous again. We love thee. We're grateful for the eternal sanctuary of marriage and the ability to be married to that individual for time and for all eternity in thy holy house and thy temples. And these things we pray for and show our gratitude to thee before we do so in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Hey, thank you.